Welcome to the So That's Why podcast, where we unpack the science behind everyday questions. I'm Jen.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Matt.
Okay, so here's one that can sometimes be slightly awkward, but is actually genuinely fascinating. Why does alcohol affect people so differently? Because in any group, you'll see that one person getting visibly merry after 2 drinks, while someone else can go through the whole evening looking completely unaffected.
Yep, we've all seen it. That social dynamic that has a different person responding to alcohol in a different way. One who's chatty after half a glass, and then there's one who's treating their first bottle of wine like it's a warm-up. And neither of them can really explain why that sort of phenomenon exists. And I possibly would posit to you that they might not even care.
Or remember the next day.
Either.
Yeah.
And the answer here actually turns out to be one of the most individual pieces of biology there is. So it's shaped by genetics, by body water content, by sex, age, what you've eaten, medications, even how you're feeling before that first drink.
So by the end of this episode, you'll understand why the same few drinks can land completely differently on 2 people sitting side by side. And we'll also look at how drinking patterns are changing and what the science actually says about lower risk approaches.
Yeah, and just to say up front, we're not here to tell anyone what to do with alcohol. It's more about understanding why responses differ so much in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. So the science we're looking at is the same for everyone. It's just with different starting points. And just to also say, we're only covering the science today. We're not discussing that one friend that you always have who seems to go missing every time it's their time to buy a round.
Yeah.
I wonder if there is actually science for that.
Yeah. Or if you are that friend, buy a round.
I'm sure you looked at me when you said that.
Okay, so let's start with giving this a number to give it like a sense of scale. So researchers have identified over 400 genomic regions and more than 500 genetic variants linked to how people experience and metabolize alcohol.
Which is, again, just want to meet the person that counts these, right? So there's over 500 genetic factors influencing how you respond before you've even had a sip of the drink. Which is a lot of variation, I think, baked in right from the start.
Yeah, it really is. And that's why kind of blanket advice doesn't really fit well when it comes to alcohol. So 2 people can have the same drink or drink the same amount at the same pace, but still end up with very different blood alcohol levels and, of course, effects.
Which makes the idea of I know my limits only partly true, because those limits, they shift depending on sleep, food, stress, age, and like we said before, medications.
Yeah, so the same person on a Tuesday after dinner has a very different sort of physiological setup from that exact same person on a Friday night after a long week and possibly no food.
Yeah, and this whole thing comes down to how the liver processes the alcohol that we drink. So alcohol, or ethanol, it gets absorbed through the stomach and the small intestine into the bloodstream. Then the liver breaks it down in 2 main steps.
Okay, so step 1, it uses an enzyme called alcohol dehydrogenase, or ADH, and that converts the alcohol into acetaldehyde. And acetaldehyde is the nasty part, so it's toxic and carcinogenic, and it's responsible for a lot of the unpleasant effects of drinking.
Yeah, like the headaches and the nausea. They don't really come from the alcohol itself. It's what the body turns it into, isn't it, while processing it?
Yeah, that's right. And step 2 uses another enzyme called aldehyde dehydrogenase. So this is ALDH, and this is to convert that acetaldehyde into acetate, which is then broken down into water and carbon dioxide. Sorry, I know we're using a lot of chemically rich names here, and I'm not quite pronouncing some of them correctly. But
yeah, I'm just glad I'm not supposed to say any of them. That's
But the key point in this process is speed. So the liver can only process alcohol at roughly 1 standard drink per hour. So anything faster than that, it just builds up in your system.
Yeah, so it's not that the liver is struggling per se. You got to think of it more like a single road, a single lane road with traffic sort of building up behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. It is like that. And that speed is largely genetically determined because those enzymes vary between people.
So the two main ones are ADH1B, and that enzyme controls how quickly alcohol becomes acetaldehyde, and then ALDH2, and that controls how quickly the acetaldehyde then gets cleared.
Can I just say well done, guys, on the naming conventions going on here.
Yeah, Jen did better than me on that one. 1-0, 1-0.
Woo!
Jen's degree in biochemistry.
It's finally coming into play.
Yeah, well done. So if one runs fast and one of these processes runs fast and one runs slow, you're going to get this backlog, aren't you? You're going to get a build-up, and that's the toxic bit, isn't it, in the middle, which sounds, if I'm honest, a little bit unpleasant.
Yeah, it certainly can be. And it's especially well studied in East Asian populations. And around a third carry a variant of this ALDH2 that doesn't work properly, which causes flushing even after small amounts.
And then there's been lots of other genetic studies that have confirmed that both of these enzymes, they strongly influence that response. So it's not psychological, it's the body genuinely struggling to clear the acetaldehyde efficiently.
And I guess that would naturally discourage, in theory, heavier drinking for a lot of people, perhaps.
Yeah, that's one of the leading theories. The physical reaction acts as a pretty good built-in deterrent, doesn't it? But where people do drink through it, just through kind of stubbornness or desire, the acetaldehyde exposure carries increased long-term risk, like particularly with certain cancers.
So genetics is the foundation, isn't it? Then everything else layers on top. I think what biological sex, that's one of the most consistent differences. And also, a lot of it comes down to body water.
Yeah, so when people say men and women can't really be compared drink for drink, unless they're talking about my mum, there's actually a sort of physiological reason behind that, right?
Shout out to Matt's mum.
Yeah, legend.
Yeah, there is. I can't comment about your mum. I've never had a drink with her, but it sounds like it'd be good fun. But alcohol is water soluble, so it distributes through evenly through the body in its water. And on average, men have more total body water. So the same drink in men is, of course, more diluted than in women.
And here's another interesting difference. So men have ADH activity, so the enzyme, in their stomach lining, so they can metabolize part of the alcohol before it even reaches the bloodstream. And guess what? Women don't have that same level of enzyme, so they can't metabolize it.
So for men then, the same glass of wine doesn't enter the system in quite the same way from the start as it does for women.
Yeah, precisely. And if you combine that with body water differences, and you get a higher blood alcohol concentration from the same intake in women.
So body composition matters too then, doesn't it? So muscle holds more water than fat tissue. So higher muscle mass generally means lower blood alcohol concentration for the same drinks.
So two people of the same weight can still have very different responses depending on their actual bodily composition. So the scales themselves don't really tell the full story.
Yeah, it's true. And then we come to age, and age adds another layer. So we lose roughly 3 to 8% of lean muscle mass per decade after 30. That's not crazy. I'm not always be these bad stats. I'm sure there are benefits of getting older, but losing lean muscle mass is one of them. Yeah. And of course, if you lose lean muscle mass, your kind of total body water is going to decrease over time too.
Well, I'm joining your joy-bringing party. The liver also becomes less efficient, so alcohol stays in the system longer. And that's why people often say, don't they, that drinks hit harder in their 40s than their 20s. It's a real physiological shift.
Yeah, and it also explains why people naturally start moderating as they get older. Their body actually starts to give some immediate feedback.
Yeah, and another consideration with age is that around 80% of adults over 65 are taking at least one medication that can interact with alcohol. So the situation does become more complex with age anyway. There's more kind of factors going on.
Yeah, and then there's what's happening in the moment, isn't there? Like food, drink type, and context, they all matter.
Yeah, and there's this idea that I've heard, that you're lining your stomach before drinking, My question is, does that actually work?
It does. And it works because food slows gastric emptying, which I appreciate sounds pretty disgusting.
Very scientific there, Chris.
Yeah, sorry about that. That's put me off my lunch now. But especially meals that have got fats and carbs, they reduce how quickly that alcohol is absorbed. So it can significantly reduce peak alcohol blood levels by eating the right kind of food.
And drink type matters too. So spirits absorb faster while beer and wine are slower. And then carbonation speeds up absorption. So like sparkling drinks, they often hit faster than people would expect.
That's an interesting one, isn't it? So your Prosecco at a wedding on an empty stomach is basically the perfect storm of chemistry.
Or a way to get people to buy more at the bar, maybe?
I'm not saying either way.
So if you're having Prosecco on an empty stomach at a wedding reception, you can say this is just a chemistry experiment. Right?
Absolutely.
Who knows?
And here's another one, though, that's worth us clearing up. Water doesn't lower blood alcohol levels or speed up metabolism. It can help with hydration and headaches, but not the intoxication itself.
Yep, it's true. And studies have shown that water only has a modest effect on hangovers. So the main drivers of inflammation and oxidative stress aren't really fixed by hydration alone.
So, the big sort of glass of water fixes everything strategy is mostly for comfort. It's not chemistry.
It's always a good idea, though, isn't it?
That's right. I mean, hydration, as we've covered a lot, helps kind of everything. It's the route to goodness across the board. And of course, it will make you feel a little bit better, but it doesn't really address what's going on biologically. And that's where medications become another huge factor here. So, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of adults are taking medication, particularly as they get older. And I think it's around 40% of adults across all ages are taking some form of medication that can interact with alcohol. And these interactions show up a significant proportion of emergency admissions related to alcohol.
That includes pretty common things too, doesn't it? Like we've got painkillers, we've got antihistamines, sleep aids, they're all involved.
Yep, all of those. And some amplify sedation, others affect liver metabolism, some increase bleeding risk. And all of these effects can happen at actually relatively low alcohol levels.
And that ties into how people think about tolerance. So when someone says they hold their drink well, that's usually functional tolerance, the brain adapting, so the outward signs are reduced.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean the internal effects are reduced.
No, so the brain compensates behaviourally, but the liver and other organs are still processing that alcohol load.
And over time, reverse tolerance can happen in heavy drinkers too. So where liver damage reduces metabolism, so small amounts suddenly have a stronger effect.
Yeah, so the system can actually swing the other way entirely.
Yeah, it can. And of course, mood and stress also matter a great deal here. So anxiety, fatigue, low food intake, they all reduce your body's resilience to the effects of alcohol.
And those kinds of factors they're partly why drinking patterns are shifting more broadly. So it's worth us noting that behaviour is changing. So in the UK, around a third of 18 to 24-year-olds don't drink at all. That's quite big.
It's a real shift, compared to certainly, I would say, my generation, previous generations. And there's also this sort of drink less, drink better trend, which seems to be happening more broadly as well.
It is, and so many young people seem to just go out at midnight and dance rather than frequent the pubs, isn't it? Which is not good for the pubs. You've got to keep the pubs going. It'll be a thing of the past before too long. Do you get pubs in the US? Sorry, US customers, bars.
Yeah. We should do for pubs what Clarkson did for farming. Oh, no, wait, he's doing pubs as well now, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Okay, carry on, Chris, sorry.
Can you explain Clarkson for our...
Oh, they all know. Clarkson's a worldwide phenomenon.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. Clarkson Farms.
Is he our best export?
Best is probably, I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, I took us completely off on a tangent. I'll try and bring it back. So back to Gen Z, there was a 2024 study and it found that most Gen Z consumers, they've reduced this alcohol intake in the past 6 months. But there is a bit of a change. So some more recent data has shown some slight re-engagement with alcohol among the Gen Z. So it's not kind of straight line, that's it. There is a bit of a shifting pattern, but the overall trend is this reduced alcohol intake, which is probably not a bad thing.
No, and across all age groups, I think moderation is increasing, even if the reasons why differ.
So the UK guidance recommends no more than 14 units of alcohol per week spread across several days. And you've also got to include regular alcohol-free days.
So to put that into context, that's roughly like 6 pints or 6 medium glasses of wine across the week. And importantly, there is no completely risk-free level. It's about reducing risk, isn't it? Not eliminating it entirely.
Yeah, so the pattern that seems to emerge is pacing, spreading intake, sort of eating properly, and being aware of personal factors like medication and mood, for example.
That's a fair summary, and I think you've definitely taken my Captain Sensible hat today.
I have.
Which is good.
I don't know what's going on, Chris.
Pass the baton.
Do you like this role?
Yeah, no. You can have it back for the next one.
Okay, so why does alcohol affect people differently?
It's because it passes through a system that varies massively between individuals. So genetics set enzyme speed, body composition sets distribution, age shifts metabolism, and food, drink type, medications, and mood. They all modify the response we have to alcohol in real time.
Which means the same drinks can land completely differently depending on the person. Not because anyone is doing anything wrong, but because everyone's biology is different.
Yeah, and it's less about willpower and less about tolerance, but more about individual chemistry doing really what it's built to do.
Yep, and once you understand that, a lot of the kind of variation we see between people that you see socially starts to make more sense.
So next time you're out, you're basically watching multiple different biological systems sort of reacting in real time. One big human experiment, which is actually slightly humbling.
It is. And it's a good reminder that normal is a wide range when it comes to biology. So that's why alcohol affects people differently. That's it for this week. Hit subscribe and let us know what we should explore next. Thanks so much for geeking out with us. But for now, that's it from me.
That's it from me.
And that's it from me.
Bye for now.